The Lion and the Mouse's Daughter. In the heart of the mighty forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets, a lion, majestic and fierce, ruled with an iron paw. His name was Ferox, the undisputed king of the wild. But there was something Ferox feared, something he couldn't control, the future of his beloved daughter Eliana. The day had come when he must choose a suitor for her, and this decision would shape the kingdom for generations to come. The lion's golden mane shimmered in the sunlight as he paced before his royal den. His heart was heavy, his mind consumed with one thought: strength. Eliana was beautiful and intelligent, but Ferox knew that a lioness must have a mate as powerful as her father, one who could stand by her side and protect the kingdom. He thought of the powerful beasts who had come to seek her hand, the mighty elephant, the cunning wolf, and the proud tiger. But none of them seemed right. Ferox wanted a king, a ruler like himself, who could command respect. Eliana sat by the edge of the forest, her eyes gazing out into the distance, lost in thought. She had heard the rumors of her father's search for a suitor, and each day new animals appeared, eager to win his approval. But none of them stirred her heart. The elephant's massive frame felt too heavy, the tiger's pride too sharp, and the wolf's intelligence too cold. She wanted something more. But she didn't know what. A soft breeze whispered through the trees, and a small figure approached from the shadows. It was a mouse, tiny, unassuming, but with eyes that gleamed with a quiet wisdom. The mouse's name was Vireo, a creature of gentle ways but boundless courage. He was not interested in power, wealth, or size. He sought only to serve with honor, and he had long admired Eliana from afar. Eliana's heart raced as the mouse drew near, his tiny paws making no sound on the forest floor. She had seen him often, but she had never spoken to him. How could she, when he was so small, so fragile? Yet in his presence, she felt a strange sense of peace. "Good evening, my lady," Vireo said, bowing his head respectfully. His voice was soft, but it carried the weight of sincerity. "Good evening," Eliana replied, her voice barely a whisper. "What brings you here, little one?" Vireo hesitated, his eyes flicking to the ground before meeting hers. I wanted to speak to you about your father's search for a suitor." Eliana's brow furrowed. "And what do you think of my father's choices?" Vireo sighed softly, his gaze thoughtful. "I think that strength is not the only measure of worth. Your father seeks power, but power alone can blind one to the things that truly matter." Confliana stared at him, her heart heavy. "You speak of strength as if it is not important. My father is king because of his strength. The animals who seek my hand, each one is strong in their own way. How can I choose someone who is not as powerful as my father?" Vireo's eyes shone with quiet determination. "But power without compassion, without kindness, cannot sustain a kingdom. A king must not only lead with strength, but with wisdom and heart. I may be small, but I have seen more than my share of rulers, some large, some mighty, but few with true greatness." Eliana took a step back, her thoughts swirling like the wind. She had always known that her father's choices were driven by his belief in strength, but Vireo's words stirred something deep within her. Could it be true? Could there be more to leadership than sheer power? As the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the forest, Ferox emerged from the trees. His eyes swept over the scene, his daughter standing beside the mouse. The lion's gaze hardened. What was this? His daughter, conversing with such a small creature. Turning to Eliana, Ferox's voice thundered through the forest. "Eliana, have you lost your senses? This mouse, how can you even think of considering him as a suitor? He is no match for you." Eliana stood her ground, her voice clear and strong. "Father, I must ask you to listen. Strength is not the only thing that matters. What if the greatest strength lies not in size or power, but in the ability to understand, to lead with compassion?" Ferox was taken aback, his prideful heart unprepared for such a challenge. His eyes flicked to Vireo, who stood unmoving, his gaze unwavering. The lion could feel the weight of the words. "And what would you know of leadership, little mouse?" Ferox's voice was cold, dismissive. Vireo stepped forward, his tiny body steady, and in his voice was the quiet power of truth. "I know that a king who leads with fear and pride will only build a kingdom of sorrow. But a king who leads with humility and wisdom, a king who listens, he will create a kingdom of prosperity." Ferox's chest heaved as he glared at the mouse. "And what of you? What do you bring to the table, little one?" Vireo looked up at the towering lion, his eyes steady. "I bring the strength of understanding, the courage to stand by the truth, no matter how small or weak one may seem." Eliana's heart swelled with something she had never felt before, something powerful and undeniable. She stepped toward Vireo, standing tall beside him, no longer afraid of her father's gaze. The lion's roar echoed through the forest, but his heart had begun to soften, his pride slowly crumbling. He saw in Vireo not a mouse, but a creature of great strength, a strength of heart and mind. Perhaps, just perhaps, it was time to let go of old beliefs and see the world through different eyes. The wind blew gently through the trees as Ferox gazed down at his daughter and the mouse. His heart, once consumed by pride, now carried a new understanding. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "true strength does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers." Eliana turned to Vireo, her heart full, and with a soft smile she said, "You are more than enough." And so, in the kingdom where strength was once measured only by size, a new rule was born, a rule of wisdom, compassion, and heart. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more adventures, and keep exploring the world of timeless tales.